Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have more hilarious news. I'm honestly not sure if the US is that stupid or they're that stupid on purpose and just trying to cause some sort of a crisis in the world. But no matter what it is, let's jump right into it. Trump announces tariffs on 60 countries. So it's no longer just, Mexico, Greenland, some for Europe, for Canada and whatever. It is for basically everybody. Everybody's getting hit with tariffs, and President Trump says that this is going to help their economy, that this is going to fix everything. But in reality, United States is not in a position to do such thing because even their own factories are outside of their country. Everybody's fleeing their country, and that is not great because everybody's looking for. So let's say you own a company in the US and you want to make a product. In the US, it would be expensive, first of all, because of the high taxes. Second of all, because of the very high standard of living, which means your paying your workers would be very high. But if you move your factories, let's say, to Philippines, you would have to pay very little. It's a cheap labor. They have lower taxes. And you you import basically from Philippines, but it's your company, it's American company. You move all those products to the US and sell them on insane prices because, high standard of living. And you're making a lot of money. But now when he hits with tariffs, these countries, for example, let's say China, all imports from China are, being affected by tariffs. That's including your products. Are you stupid? You're basically sanctioning yourself. This is idiotic. But yeah, this guy's doing that. And here we have expert apparently saying that. I could have said this like days ago. It doesn't matter, but they are experts apparently. Staggering price of new iPhone after Trump's tariffs. Of course. Where iPhone is apparently American. Do you know where it's being produced? Not in America. Including, let's say, I think Nike are stationed in Vietnam because, little kids are making those shoes for pennies and you're selling them for hundreds of dollars in the US. You hit Vietnam with tariffs, Nike goes under. They cannot cover their tracks. They're done. Like, are you that stupid? Apparently they are, but there are people that are being a little bit smarter, so there were some talks. So we had the Australian politician, I'm not sure which one, that said that they're importing a bunch of beef from the US and that they would simply stop because of the tariffs. And then Trump said, there are videos of these things, Trump said that he would do the same. He would stop importing because they are also importing beef from Australia. And I don't really understand that. I sell you beef, you sell me beef. Why do we need beef? Why can I not just use my own? I don't know, it's politics. But now they're saying the Australian Department of Agriculture has confirmed there is no ban on importing United States beef. So they've been a little bit, you do what they say. And now it's all good. But there is a Serbian president, and this is, in my opinion, what everybody should do. Serbian president said that they're exporting to the US some tires for trucks and buses and high quality ammunition. And he said, well, we have these exports to the US, and these tariffs are gonna hurt us a little, but we simply don't have to export them to them. Simple as that. If they can find cheaper tires or better quality ammunition for the price, they're free to, shop somewhere else. We have markets everywhere. There are countries in the world, like the whole African continent, that is in need of everything, and nobody's there to sell them anything. Or let's look at India, for example, with, I don't know how many, 1.6 billion people or something like that. That country needs everything. And that country was the one to, benefit from the war in Ukraine, because now they are a better partners with Russia, because Russia had to stop trading with Europe because the US told them to. So now US, not only that it pushed Europe from Russia, pushed itself from Russia, and now is pushing everybody else, and guess where they're gonna go? To India! India and China. Whatever you do, you're trying to make your country better, but all you're doing is boosting your enemies. How stupid are you? This is ridiculous. So, of course, here we go. Europe seeks new trade partners after US tariffs. Even Europe, your own puppet states, the yes sir ones that are under your military occupation, are looking to just get the hell out of there. You're losing the grip of your own little empire. Europe is basically saying, we will work with all our partners and continue to strengthen and expand our trade network. Now is the time to ratify the agreement with Mexico, with this, I don't know how to pronounce this, and Mexico, and make decisive progress to negotiations with India and other key economies. Basically, China. Everything, you're pushing everything towards your enemies. What are you doing? This is idiotic. You cannot isolate yourself. If you do that, countries, this is exactly what they're doing. This makes sense to literally everybody. If you ask a 5-year-old, what should you do if you have a country and this country is slapping you with tariffs on your, on your products that you're selling them? Even a 5-year-old is gonna tell you, well, I'm gonna sell them to someone else. It makes so much sense. No, how did the US not think of this? This is so stupid. And I love how Trump is being like, well, you see, we have a lot of power now, and everybody's calling us, and everybody's calling me and wanting to make a deal. Well, they're basically giving you their final warning. Like, are you gonna cut this crap out, or we're just gonna move somewhere else? Because the world is huge. If you didn't notice, there is shit ton of countries. We can trade with literally anyone. We don't have to trade with you. You're the only one who's dependent on everything, on everybody else. Your factories are outside of your country. You don't have a workforce in your own country, and even if you did, even if these tariffs somehow made these companies move their factories back in the US, it wouldn't help. Who would work in them? You literally moved everything outside your country, even the simple like call support service. You contact PayPal, for example. You know what you hear? Hello, my name is Fatma. How can I help you today? You don't hear Americans. Everything is. What is the entire America doing? What are 350, 60 million people doing? I have no idea. But they're not producing anything. They're useless. You're moving all of your factories, and right now, you're gonna not notice, as they say, iPhone, probably Nike prices go up. This is simply because it's more worth to these companies, more profitable, to even go through tariffs rather than coming back to the US and moving their factories there. Even if you lower your taxes, it doesn't matter. He's paying those Vietnamese kids like $200 a month to make your shoes. If he moves the factory to the US, he has to pay at least $2,000 a person to do the same job. So of course you're screwed. Your super high standard of living is just nuts. It's too much. You just cannot. You should lower the standard of life and make some reasonable prices. And then you might have something to start with. But this, nuts. So, this is a hilarious one. When I heard this, I was just laughing my ass off. But from France comes a call for Trump's America to return Lady Liberty, which is Statue of Liberty. Here is why it won't happen. Because it's a Statue of Liberty. It's not a coffee cup. It's a whole statue. It's massive. So the French said, give us back the Statue of Liberty. Because, you know, you don't deserve it and you don't respect it. And because Americans have chosen to switch to the side of tyrants. You know, because they're negotiating with Russia and trying to end the war. That's bad. And this is how they get you. Because they're saying here that Europe is basically trying to say war shouldn't end. But the US started the war. The US fueled the war. The US pushed Europe to support the war, forced them to. And now they're backing off and they're like, whoa, look at these European warmongers. So don't get fooled and thinking that US is a peacemaker or whatever. They started everything. He creates a problem and then he kind of solves it, but a few million people died. And we are supposed to love him. Don't get fooled by this. This is propaganda. You're thinking North Koreans have a propaganda? Just look at the Americans. This is horrifying. How easily they get you with these. And of course, American said that they wouldn't give it back. But yeah, it was our gift to you, but apparently you despise her. So she will be happy here with us. Move it back to France. And the US, of course, said, you know, US basically said the White House brushed back on the comments Monday. Weird phrasing. Saying France instead should still be grateful for US support during World War I and World War II. And saying that they should be grateful for the US for because they are not speaking German today. Not to the US. You should be grateful to Russia. Who got to Berlin? Who had most kills in that war, basically? It sounds kind of gamey, you know, when you say who had most kills. But how many Russians died and how many Germans died to the Russians? Russia carried the entire war on their back. US did a D-Day when Germany was already losing to Russia. And they now did the invasion of France and started pushing forward simply because they were too scared that Russia is gonna take over everything and they won't get anything out of it. Which would have happened because Russia was doing amazing at the time. Outproducing Germany and just smashing through them. So, thank Russia, the ones that you are fighting. They're your friends. Good job. Americans are just warmongers and war profiteers. That's all. They're all about war, about killing, about destruction. That's all that they are doing. Just look at history. It's simple as that. In both world wars, when did they join the war? Almost at the end of it. Somewhere in the middle. What were they doing before that? They were making money. You're fighting, I'm supplying you. You think that's free? No, it's not. And then when, you know, the war starts turning, they're like, alright, we are in. We won this war. You should be thanking us. And people are falling for it. This is hilarious. But yeah. Oh, we have also one more thing. I gotta show you that this is hilarious news. So we have Canada terminates military alliance with the US. Now, this is absolutely hilarious, and we had the Trudeau guy said that US is no longer a friend, that they messed up big, and they want their military out of their country, and they're gonna take over and, if needed, lead the free world. Because Americans won't do it. They are tyrants now, you know? So, this is hilarious to me because I know that Canada, like the other NATO members, are US puppets. They are occupied by the US military, and now Canada is expelling them. It's being like, we don't want you here, get out of here, in case, you know, just Trump decides one day, well, Canada is our American state, and if you do anything about it, my military is already in your country, so they're just gonna take over and that's it, you're done. This is what occupation is, just being there, and you let them be there. So now Canada is basically finally getting their independence. Isn't that amazing? It's awesome. First good news. But there are bad news for Canada because they were already really close with the US, doing whatever US told them, and they got into quite a bad relations with China. Yeah, and Russia. Yeah, and half of the planet. Yup. So where are you gonna go? If US just decides to militarily attack Canada right now, Canada has no military. It has some very small shitty military compared to the US. And who's gonna defend you? So it's interesting that we live in these times where, you know, these people that were all about friendship and whatever were actually all just occupied by the US and are simply puppets. And now they're trying to fight back. And it's not like they would try, but the US is making them. It's giving them no choice. So I don't know what to expect, but I can expect very, very bad things. So anyways, let's cover just this one more. We have 4 countries. We have 4 European Union countries, a group of European Union member states. Italy, Portugal, Spain, and Hungary has voiced opposition to the proposal of 20 billion military aid package for Ukraine. So their US puppets, now without US lead, are stopping finally to support the war. Oh my god, isn't that amazing? But you know, France, Germany, and these big boys of the US puppets are not stopping. They're gonna keep going as long as the war goes. And good for them, right? Because they're now leading the free world of nonsense. But it is what it is. Anyway, I just wanted you to hear this because I kind of like that they're finally breaking apart, because this is just getting ridiculous, the horrible crimes around the world they've done, and I'm kind of happy that they're falling apart as they've been working their entire lives to break apart everybody else. So payback's a bitch. Anyways, hope you enjoy this. Make sure you subscribe. I'll keep letting you know what they're cooking while you're not looking, and I'll see you on the next one.